We'll be live. Hi everyone, we'll check soon. Sound check, and we also already have someone here. I don't know what this does mean. What happened? Already 8:31. I have no idea. But
India time.
it's 8. Okay. So it's
Yes.
so we are sorry. We are 1 minute late. We were doing some final check. We are here, Amit. I hope you are still here. Welcome everyone. Today I have Piyush Garg. Yes, we are live, and I wanted really to have a discussion with him. I've been very busy with conferences, but I really, really wanted to have him on my channel before the end of 2025. So we are here to have an open discussion because I want to know him better. I want to know what he's doing. I want to know his beginning on YouTube because usually it's funny to hear, and also what he's currently doing now and his future projects. So let's get started. Hi everyone, say hi in the chat or even namaste. How are you, Piyush?
Yeah. Hi, Francisco. Namaste, as you said. So I'm doing good, and thank you so much for having me. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm a bit overwhelmed with stuff, but now I'm used to this. So I'm used, and I think I'm becoming quite good also at handling different things at the same time. Now I am in the conference season. So when I am in the conference season, I'm already know it's like I am doing a preparation. Let's say, and it's fine. In November, I might relax, and when I say relax, I mean I will do videos, but at least I'll be at home relaxed doing videos. Yes, for yeah, Aditya, how are you? How's it going? Happy gets a ho.
So he's basically asking, "Hey, Piyush, how are you?" I think you know Hindi, right? I have
I
heard
know
you
him.
in spaces.
I,
Yes, nice.
I know him for sure. Yes. So, Yush, I'm sure that not many people will need your introduction, but maybe someone is missing your introduction. So, please share more about you and yes, two Rustations in the same frame. Exactly that. We are here for you. Make some noise in the chat, put some crab in the chat, and let's get ready because I also want to make an interactive event. So feel free to drop questions, say your point of view, and that's it. Yes, Aditya, you're here. Piyush, please.
So sure. So as you know, like my name is Piyush Garg, and I'm a full stack developer. So right now I'm working as a principal engineer, and we are building on AI only. So from past 1 year, I would say we are working corely on AI agents, and B2B things. And apart from that, like I do YouTube. I love to teach things about like system design, JavaScript, interview preparation, and nowadays I'm also creating content over AI. So this is basically what I do. So I really love to teach like whatever we implement in the company, whatever we learn right in our day-to-day engineering life. So I really love to teach those things. I really want to share my knowledge. So that is basically how my life goes. And like as you can see in the chat, they say like tourist stations. Like I don't say myself a station. That's still a very big word for me. I have like very less experience in Rust because my more of experience is in Python and JavaScript. So yeah, that's pretty much about me. And like I'm from India, and I can already see a lot of people from India are joining. So yeah, that's really great.
I think that once you are at a station, you're always at a station because usually when you learn a programming language, maybe we don't use it for a period for a
Hmm.
specific reason. But I'm curious. I'll probably ask something about Rust later. But it's fine. It's fine. Yes. So I would like to know more about how did you get in tech? Maybe your first role. What has been? So let's start from here. Yeah. Okay. I will let you choose from when you want to start. Some people start like when they were a child. Some people say, "Hey, last year I made a boot camp." So something probably in the middle will do work.
Okay, so you basically want to know like when I started coding, right? Mainly.
Exactly.
Actually, I started coding at very early age. I was around, I think, 14 years old, and that is when I got introduced to HTML. I know HTML is not a programming language. Don't hate me for that. But yeah, that was basically my first programming language. So I was introduced to HTML, I think, randomly on a YouTube video. You maybe remember the new Boston, right? The creator, the
I
new
I had
Boston.
I actually had him on my channel as a guest, so I know him.
Oh, nice, nice. That's a great achievement having him on your channel. So his videos I was seeing, and I was, when I was 14, I was just creating some basic HTML pages, some forms, playing with that marquee tag, the text as like flying from left to right and right to left and
The
all those.
the
So that,
infamous Merky tag, yeah.
yeah, the marquee tag. So that is where basically I picked up this thing that, hey, this is something really excites me, I can build anything. That gives me a power to build something. So I remember, like, for example, when I was like 15, I just wrote my first JavaScript program. It was a very basic one, but it was more of like a percentage calculator. And I knew that, hey, like, if I have a real world problem, I mean, not as simple as just doing a percentage calculation, I can build something. So that is where I pick up that interest. So I just kept on going. I learned C, I learned C++. I wanted to make it more structured, not just limited to HTML and something like that. Learned a Java. So that is basically how I started my journey. But on a serious note, like, how I got serious into development is basically in college only, because that is where you got that environment, right? Other people are also coding, you are getting that project, you are getting that syllabus. So I got really serious into the coding in my first year only, but I picked up it very early.
Mhm.
So that is how I got
Yes.
into the
So
tech.
yes, so it has been a long journey. I've been coding like also in my like in the when I was a teenager, but let's say I still consider me getting into tech for real 9, 10 years ago. When I say, coding like for real, 12 hours a day, 10 hours a day, going to the rabbit hole, banging your head on the wall when something is not working. This is what I consider like me really getting into tech. But I've always been a fan of computers. And I love what you mentioned about teaching. I don't know if you know that both of my parents are teachers. I've been teaching for my whole life because I was teaching math and chemistry and physics when I was like also a teenager some years ago. I've been a volleyball coach, so and now I'm also like teaching stuff on YouTube. So my life has always been related to teaching. So I always respect the people who like teaching, and I think that teaching is like a mission. This is how I see it. This is what my parents they transferred to me, and this is why probably I'm also here because I got you. I see that you are passionate when you share your videos, when you share your energy, and so that's the reason. So I'm sure that we are on the same. On the same boat
Hmm.
for this. I really like that. Yes, I would like to know more about, and I like it. I always like to have this discussion. How has been your first, or let's say at the beginning of your content creation career? Like, if this was planned, if you got everything perfect on the first video. I'm sure that everything was perfect on the first video, but I want you to say it loud, and also like how maybe and why you started sharing this content, because
Hmm.
I see many people that are scared and they say maybe it's not time, and maybe it's too late, or maybe I don't have anything to share. So I would like to know your experience now as a successful creator, we can say it for sure. How has been at the beginning? Because it's hard sometimes. People, they just see what you have now. They see the football player in Premier League, but what about the beginning, like the first kicks at the ball, or the first times playing cricket, if you prefer?
Sure, sure. I no, no. Actually, this is a really nice question. So, I like when I was learning to code, right? I always had that thing in mind that, hey, if I'm learning something, I have to teach this to someone. Let's say even when I was 15 or 16 years old, if I learned, let's say, how to add two numbers, there was something in my stomach that, hey, I have to spill it, like I have to tell it to someone that, hey, you can do this, that excitement thing, that, hey, just by writing this particular code, you can add two numbers. So even when I was in school, my close friends, my circle, I always used to bore them that, hey, I just learned how you can add two numbers in C++. Hey, do you know that there is this C in kind of a thing, and you can this. They were not even interested in this particular thing. Okay, I always had that urge that, hey, if I'm learning something, I really want to tell it to the world. So that is okay, like that was a school thing. So like when I was getting my training, right, it was an offline institute, I used to teach there. As a child, I used to, like, ma'am used to say that, hey, if you want to take some session, or you want to take a doubt class. So I was always ready for it, that, hey, this is something I really love, so I really want to take the doubt thing. And one thing I understood is that when you learn for yourself, like maybe from books, maybe from a videos, you learn it. But when you have to teach it, you learn the things in a different way. You actually go into the depth at how that thing is working. You just don't see that, hey, this is the syntax. Now you also know the reason that why this is written. You cannot just say, hey, int main, and just start the program. So that got me that, hey, when I teach something, I actually also get my concepts better and more clear, because then only you can explain to someone. So that is how I kind of picked up interest in teaching plus coding, both of the things. And when I was around, I think 17 or 18, I even like used to teach offline to the like students, not much, four students, three students, that was the strength. And then even in the college, I used to bore my friend circle that, hey, today I'm going to teach you Java, today I'm going to teach you this. They may be not interested, but I used to them. Then COVID happened, everything went down. I had that thing. So I thought, hey, why not through videos? I mean, why to limit yourself just to
Mm.
3 4, or the local one? So when I actually recorded my first video, it was horrible. Teaching to a live, living being is different, because you get that constant feedback.
100% different. 100% different. Exactly. You got
100%
the
different.
point. You got the point. You nailed the point because you did it. So you know the difference.
Yeah. And teaching to the camera was like that, hey, if someone is looking at me, he will call me mad. It was something like, hey, are you
You
talking to
know,
yourself?
yeah. Do you know why while talking to a camera it feels so weird? Because it is. You're talking to an object, so it's weird. It feels weird because it is weird. But
Yeah.
like understanding then the final result, there are also some tricks. Sometimes talking to your friends, talking to your mom, annoying someone. But for me, it has been that like understanding what's the final result, and
Hmm.
once you get some traction, you start understanding that like this. It's like doing like a delayed lesson. But I can say that also like not having someone like nodding at you what you are speaking,
Yeah.
it's a bit weird. So you're basically alone, and probably you need a very silent room. So you need to concentrate to have a better audio. Feels even worse because you have to be absolutely silent, and you need to focus, and you hear your voice, and it's weird. I've been there, and now it's fine because I know the result. What the result is. If you're here and you had an experience in creating videos, I would like to know your experience in creating videos. Yes, but mhm. I like this question by Razvan. When do you think is you like you can start teaching others to a specific topic? Like, what do you think is the right moment to get
Hmm.
started in
There is no
2030?
the right,
When?
yeah, the right moment is now. Whenever you learn something, right? And that curiosity sparked in you, let's say, right? See, I feel when you learn something new, you first of all get discomfort, right? You first of all get that. Like, for example, I'll tell you, for the very first time when I picked up, there was a service like ECS and Docker containers. Let's pick it up that, right?
Love it.
So I was very much used to this server thing, right? You pick up the code, you clone the repository on the server, you just run that with PM2, and it just works fine, right? You can scale that, you can do anything. Then there was this concept introduced to me of the containerization. So first thing is that I don't need this, right? That is the first thing. Hey, world is working, right? Without containers. Why do I even need something like Docker? So when you like number one thing, when I first saw Docker, when I started learning it, I got uncomfortable, because it is breaking my beliefs. It is breaking my workflow of working. It is working. Why do I need something like Docker? You get uncomfortable. So first phase of learning is get uncomfortable, because something new is introduced to you. World, see, today if a new JavaScript framework comes in, my thinking is that, hey, if world is already there, right? If everything is working, why do we need this? Why should I uncomfort myself? Then basically what happens is you start to learn it, you dig into it, you get that problem statement, and you get that wow factor. Oh my god, this was a problem which is getting solved. I mean, it's a very nice thing. And once you get that wow factor, I think that is the right moment when you learn that thing, and you basically can teach to someone, because now you know what problem it is solving. You are not just learning it because society is making a pressure on you, hey, this is something new, you should learn it.
Yes, I'd like also to thank you so much. Of course, I agree. And when you talk about Docker, I'm always like, when I turn up, I have also some Docker stuff over there, and I will be at I'm a Docker Captain Summit in a month about.
Hmm.
I would like to say to you my point of view, which is, when do you know enough to start teaching others a specific topic? I think you can start right after checking it for the first time, but there is a but. You should never lie. You should never claim that you are an expert. I see many people doing this on social media. Once, if you check it, just unblog. I would do. To be honest, I don't understand this idea because everyone wants to looks like an expert. I would probably do the opposite. I would say, hey, I never tried Flutter. You can see me checking it live. You can see me trying it out because usually when you try something for the first time, you have some fresh eyes. So, for example, if you never tried Docker, you can say, hey, I tried Docker for the first time, and this is my first impression of Docker. This is 10 times better than claiming that you are an expert, because for sure people will know that you are not if you are not, because some expert people might jump on the live stream and do some, and that would be very awkward. So if you stay honest, also when I started doing Rust, it was me learning Rust on YouTube. Like I was checking it basically with the audience, but I never hide that part. So I prefer to stay honest when I share it. So I think you can do great content on your first impression on a technology, which probably like most of the people can resonate, because if you do something more advanced, there probably will be less people watching it, which is fine. If you're having a first impression in trying a JavaScript framework, that's great. Instead of claiming that you are a Dino expert if you try it once. So that's my only uh, tip and point of view. I don't know. I think I should not even say this, that you should not like lie about your knowledge, because you will be if be unfair, then people will lose trust in what you say. And I still don't consider myself an expert in Docker, and I've been Docker captain for 4 years. I've been writing Docker containers for like 10 years. So when are you an expert? Never. So that's the thing. And
That's actually, yeah, true. Never lie. That's actually very important point. You can tell, right, the world, hey, this is something new I want to
yeah,
learn. This is how I can learning. You can create a content out of it. That's really true. People will resonate more, I think, because you are
sure,
at that
sure.
phase.
Sure.
Hmm.
Yeah, let's and
Good point.
but you can say like, first impression, I liked it, I didn't like, but like, like the day after ChatGPT 5, everyone was an expert about ChatGPT 5. That's not how it works. I went live, I tried it out, and I've seen the differences or if it was good or not. We are getting some questions. So if you have some questions that are relevant, since we're having a very nice open conversation, it's a pleasure to have you here, Piyush. Let's try to help you out. So if it's okay for you, we can now, if you can drop some questions, you can also drive the conversation. See, this is an interactive event, as you can see. How do you figure out or move efficiently through a documentation, especially when it's not written in a beginner friendly way? My question is, do we really need to read documentation or maybe not? So I'm joking, of course, but what do you think is the right way to say, investigate this thing that developers usually as a stereotype they don't do? It's a
So,
stereotype.
I think the first thing that I prefer is that if I'm learning something new, right, I never understand documentation on the very first go. To be honest, right, if I'm introduced something new, I need some kind of video. I need a human talking about it, sharing his experiences, what it is, giving me a small walkthrough of the code, right, how it can be done. I think I need that. I need two to three, at least two to three videos from, good creators who can explain me from that. Once you, I think, get that gist, what it is doing, once you have seen someone doing it on screen, then documentation also starts to make sense. I never jump onto the documentation on the very first go. I always jump onto the landing page, what they have to offer. I always go to YouTube and, search for the videos. But once you get that gist, I think documentation automatically starts making sense. That's, I mean, my
Same.
workflow.
Same
Yeah.
to me. I have my favorite YouTubers. So usually I like how their format, and
Hmm.
I this is usually the first thing I do is I try, depending on how much time I have and how much I want to dive deep. Let's say a video that explains me something that is a bit more technical, of course, because I think there are also different level of knowledge. Of course, if you're an absolute expert, you don't even know what a term is, probably you need, an absolutely beginner thing. Usually I check some the YouTube channels of people I know. They do things in the right way for me, because everyone. I think there is a space for everyone to create content. You can even, do the last videos while running. I'll probably watch it. So so you can have different formats, shorts, long videos. Usually for technical stuff, I prefer to watch them on my PC, maybe because I'm old, I don't know, to understand and also maybe check the code. But but yes, this is how I do it. Sometimes the documentation, they are written well. Do you know what I really like in a documentation? When there is a quick start guide. Some of them they have it, some of them they don't have it. And I think it's great to have a quick start guide, like a quick real example that it works on documentation. Sometimes it's missing, and I start like explaining things in a very long and boring way. Sometimes they are straight on point, and really in 5 minutes you can have the first example up and running. Like classic example, Docker run hello world. You can type it and you have a Docker run hello world. That's a great example of documentation. I don't like when documentation it goes too much into details when I don't know the things. That's probably more like a reference, which is not really a documentation. So a reference is like, to remember the commands, to remember the things you can do. Documentation should help you to get started. I think it should be as simple as possible. I think documentation is a great source when we need to create content. Usually when I need to create content, usually I don't check someone else's YouTube video because maybe I want to give my own impression. And so usually I check direct the documentation. Then, of course, if we both check the documentation, probably we have similar videos. But usually I check the documentation and then I create this with my own style. I remember telling me, "Hey, Francesco, this video is very similar to the other guy." I don't even know who this guy is. Probably we checked the same documentation, and this is why our videos are similar. My one, of course, is the one with the Italian accent. So if you like the Italian accent, you can watch it. But it's interesting. Yes, so I'm really enjoying it. Before moving into the next question, maybe I want to know what you're currently working on. I also want to know about your friendship with Hitesh. I met him in person. I want to make you jealous. So how did that began, and what are you currently working on with him and also on your own personal projects?
Yeah. Like as a full time, I'm working as an engineer in a USA based startup. So it's a AI company. Like we build AI agents and AI workflows for B2B companies, right? I mean, we build the framework about that. So, for example, when you deploy agents, when you build agents, you need a lot of stuff. You need those guardrails. You need that business work pipelines, right? All that things basically we build. So working with our Axen right now. And with Hitesh, sir, like, we share one common thing that he absolutely loves teaching, right? I also absolutely love teaching. So we have been like doing a lot of courses. We have been doing a lot of live cohorts. So that is basically how we are doing with it, like how I'm doing with Hitesh. So like, in 2025, we have done a very like big cohort on web dev. So it was a 6 month like kind of a live course. We started like from the first day where we were teaching that what internet is and how to download VS Code. That was our first class, how to download VS Code. And at the very end class, we are basically deploying our own lead code version. We built a lead code from scratch. So that progress, that impact, so that was really great. So this is how like me and Hitesh sir are working together. And we have been doing a lot of cohorts on Gen AI. We have been teaching Gen AI because we both have a first hand experience on that, right? So that is how it is going with Hitesh sir. But yeah, I'm actually connected with Hitesh sir from 2019, and I never met him in person.
It's fine. It's fine, and this just shows the power of working remotely, because then you can do a lot of
Yeah.
stuff with someone. I
Hmm.
also collaborate. Usually, I travel, and usually I met the people I work with. But maybe one day you will do a collaboration. Don't forget to take us healthy, because otherwise you will just regret it
No, no,
forever.
no.
So,
I
so
That is going to be my dream moment. Like, I want to we okay. By the way, we are just 7 hours away. Okay.
you are ashamed. I'm joking.
Yeah. I mean, we are just 7 hours away. We both live in North India. Okay. So I mean it's just a 7 hour of car drive.
I
And
think
maybe
that's
just
so. Yes.
hmm?
No, and I mean it's 3 hours and a half if you drive it both ways.
Okay, that's a nice way of other way of thing. Yeah,
I did some physics. This is a physics like
yeah.
basic
No, you.
example.
I know you were a physics teacher, so yeah,
No,
I
but
can imagine.
and yeah, and when someone is really close, usually say, "Hey, I can meet him whenever I want." So we don't really have to. I also have many friends in Milan, 500 kilometers, probably it's 5 hours, and we never met. So it's okay because it's that close. Like we can see that. I want to quickly ask Sophia, answered Sophia, the link of the company if you can share it. I think you mentioned a company. Don't
Sure,
can you mention the name
sure,
of the
sure, sure.
company? Ah, okay.
It's Oraxen. Should I put? Okay, I can put
You can
you.
write the link in the private chat, or you can say the name, and people. I mean, we have developers who can even Google it. But if you
Yeah, yeah.
type
Here,
the
here is
link,
the link I have shared in the private
okay,
chat.
perfect. So you can check it out. Sophia is also a content creator on YouTube, so you might expect
Oh,
her
nice.
like checking this. So she just released a Python video. Very talented YouTuber, and yes, okay. So this is the link. Now we are having like many people like posting questions. So I don't know. We will check some of them. And okay. And what's your favorite collaboration with Hitesh? I would like to ask because I think you did many, right?
Yeah, we actually did many live streams together. We did many courses
Okay,
together, and our
cool.
live streams were just like casual reviewing the projects, just a casual live
Well,
stream, talking to students in the live chat, talking to the audience. So
perfect.
nothing formal. Sometimes our live stream was, 5 minutes before. Sir is saying, "Hey Piyush, what are you doing? Nothing much, sir, on my desk. Okay, let's go live in 5 minutes."
And I think some people now might be absolutely scared or not even trust you. So like, no, it's not true. But this is, I think, that once you start having the mindset of the creator, and you care less about what people might tell about you, you're not even scared to say something that might be wrong because we can always be corrected. If I say something wrong and people can correct you to say, "Hey, you said something wrong," I say thank you. I did a talk at the RustConf, and there was a
Hmm.
slide which was not perfect because I mentioned like here is a macro, and the picture showing the function instead. I don't know why. Probably I put the wrong example. So of course, since this was a conference of Rust developers, someone raised their hand and said, "Hey, but where is the macro you mentioned? The macro." And he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I put the wrong example
Hmm.
because I really had to rush to prepare the talk." I didn't feel bad. Like to be honest, the feeling correct is great. People, it seems that at least people are watching and they're focused on this. So
Hmm.
it's great to get corrected by a student on someone who is watching.
No, no, that
So
is absolutely. Actually, I'll tell you one thing. Nowadays, these developers are super intelligent because they have a lot of resources. They have a lot of resources to verify. You cannot go lie, right? It's as simple. What happens is, see, if we are creating a video, usually like we do pre-recorded, right? I do my pretty much homework before that. Hey, what are the things I'm confident about, right? What we should talk about and all that thing. And in one of my video, what happened is I was talking about scaling. So horizontal scaling, vertical scaling. While speaking, I mixed up the both because when you are speaking and you're talking to camera, you are coding, you have like three different things going on.
of course,
So I made that whole video, but what needs to be called vertical scaling was horizontal scaling, and what I call horizontal scaling was vertical scaling. So everywhere
perfect.
in the video I have to put that, hey, once you learn, please interchange both of the terms.
Okay. And this is like I don't know when you mix the x and y axis when you
Yeah,
talk about
yes, yes,
math. So
correct.
that's the thing. And yes, and sometimes you can't focus on many things at the same time. So suddenly we have just one brain. We are not multi-thread yet.
Yes.
Sometimes it feels that we are doing something at the same time, but we technically can think about two things at the same time. I think at least this is how our brain works. We can technically do this, and so it happens when you explain you this is why, for example, like teaching live is superior because someone will just correct you the first time and you will be fixed. When you teach to a camera, you might do the same mistake over and over again. Even worse, you can record something with your mic off, and then you understand this just at the very end, which of course
Hmm.
it will affect the whole video. But did you publish the video anyway?
Yes, I published it and I even said that, hey, that's okay. I developers make mistake.
And I like this because especially I think beginners they really
Hmm.
struggle much probably they would have not like hated themselves. They would not have posted the video, but it's fine. Like if you're a human being, I mean, if you're still human beings and we can use our brain, and if I'm watching your video and I still find your video valuable, even if you say something inverted and you explain it at the beginning on the video, you say,
Hmm.
you added a comment. I understand that you don't, maybe with the same time, you can record a whole new video and provide way more value than just
I
recording the
did
same
that.
video again
Yeah,
that
I
will
did
never,
that.
yeah.
Made a
And
new video.
so
Hmm.
exactly. So probably in another video we can do and provide more value. I mean, come on, we're still human beings, so we can help our
Yeah.
teachers, and I think it's fine. It might even be funny. You can even make a joke, so it's fine. And I like this approach, and I think this is the difference, like between the real creators. They are focused on building the things and creating more things rather than trying to over optimize. Sometimes I have more time. So, if it's just something that I can fix in 5 minutes, I do it. But if it's something that I spent, a whole week, like some few days recording, I'm not gonna record it again. So usually I do this in this way. I don't know if AI can actually, fix our pronunciation. At some point, we might even reach that moment. And yes, and of course, let's read this
Even
one.
in live classes, what happens is basically, let's say, because it's a live class, right? Students are watching. So it's as simple as that. Debugging is a part of coding. Do not assume that we know everything. We never get errors. That's not the case. We do get errors. We do go to Stack Overflow. We do get to Chat GPT and everything. So what happens in live classes, like when we were having that Gen AI cohort, Gen AI space changes a lot, right? While 3 days before the documentation was different and now the version has bumped up. So while teaching, I got a lot of errors because I noticed that there's a version bump. Okay. So I openly say that, hey students, today's class was meant to be taught this, but today you are going to learn how to debugging because now I have into the error. So I open chat GPT, I ask, hey, how to fix it? Because okay, if you're learning something, you should also understand how to debug. That's more important because you will face errors. I don't want to trim out this particular part. I want you to see how we, solve an error, how to read the errors, because that is also equally important.
Yeah, and this is what really makes me a bit upset, because I see so many people
Hmm.
glorifying and talking about how AI can write a lot of stuff. Not many people are advocating for using AI to learn, using AI to understand the issues, using AI to understand the code, using AI to plan your single feature that you can use them with the use
Hmm.
of AI. But we can use at the same normal workflow. Even for example, I use AI to deploy some features, but usually for bigger projects, I prefer to keep the normal structure that I have with PRs and stuff. The open, just for the sake to having an open source project and collaborate with someone. We still use GitHub like with collaborators and stuff. So I think that part is nice. We should not uh, change it forever. Of course, if
Hmm.
you are a student, you're a teenager, you are in the weekend, you want to have fun, it's fine. If you just vibe code, you go crazy. But sometimes I do that. But I mentioned this intentionally, that I'm going crazy because maybe I'm benchmarking the LLM. I try, for example, to showcase like the difference between ChatGPT 5, Gemini,
Correct.
Claude. That's fine. But if you want to be a professional, like in an area, like letting everything about AI, I'm sure that you don't, in your company, you don't let AI doing everything. Otherwise, you'd probably be, let's say, messed up in 2 hours because
The code goes out of hand very soon. Then you are bind to AI. Then AI can only make changes. It does anything, right?
yeah, exactly. So
Hmm.
and I like this idea of like debugging and still understanding the thing.
Hmm.
So we have control of our code. We have control on the structure. And of course, again, I'm talking about real companies, real projects, not just having fun on a live stream. That's fine. Some people don't understand the difference between starting a new project from scratch because it's Saturday, I'm bored, and I prefer to go live and check some and do something. But then when you have to deal with money,
Hmm.
paying users, you can't just just do this for the sake of doing it. It's a different approach, and people should really understand how like to use AI in the proper way. I think I also made a talk about this. For example, we can use AI for accessibility. We can use it for debugging. We can use AI, for example. Another use case that I really love is using AI to optimize an existing code. I remember, for example, I
Hmm.
was struggling when I was before that. Was I had to do my own benchmarks. When you have to optimize something which is already working, and probably I can find some ways to make the code faster. Of course, I'm talking again for production ready code. When you have maybe a billion users, maybe if you can make the code a bit quicker, that would be great. And yes, I love this one because it mentioned about the fundamentals, I think. Currently, I'm working on the backend side. So my question is how to make sure I'm comfortable with basic stuff and how can I move towards an advanced concept like queue, socket, Redis, etc.
I would love to hear your thoughts first.
Yeah, sure. Um, I would say I think that you are comfortable once you can teach this to another guy. So if you can teach this to another person, you are comfortable. And I would not put a hard stop like hey no I can't I don't know this concept exactly. I can't even check what Redis is. This is not how learning is. I think it's more like learning concepts. You can always go back on the basics if you don't feel comfortable. So I would say stay curious. My suggestion is not to learn many advanced concepts at the same time. So maybe try one project with Redis, one project with sockets, one project with with Q, and so on. And then maybe in the next project, you can try to integrate the whole advanced features. And by doing this, you have written 4 projects and you're probably reiterating the basics over and over again. So this is my perfect strategy. What's yours?
No, that's actually true. The first line, like, if you can teach this concept to a 5-year-old, I mean, you have nailed it, right? And secondly, I mean, I'm not sure how you bucket a basic stuff because maybe for someone, the queues and sockets are also very
None is
basic,
great. Yeah,
right?
and I think maybe it depends. But for example, if you mention okay, some things that probably a beginner on the first day is not doing, but
Hmm.
I'm sure that if you look for a basic Redis project, it's not that complicated. If you pick Redis alone, or if you pick a very simple of a socket, it's not that complicated. What is complicated is integrating these in an existing project. If your project is made by 5 databases and you can have with different technologies and then you have to sync this, then in that case probably it becomes a bit more complicated. But yes, I also I don't like this idea of like now who is deciding what is basic and what is advanced. I
Hmm.
don't know. So it depends
Let the
on how
problem
much
come.
you're. No.
Let the problem come. Let the problem of queue come into you, right? And you implement queues. Let the problem of socket come to you and you implement that. Let the problem come of the Redis to you and then you implement that. Why to force that, hey,
Mhm,
I want to implement that thing? Everything is
mhm.
then basic for you.
Yeah, and again, you become comfortable by reiterating. So this is why, for example, I don't
Hmm.
know, creating APIs or I don't know. For example, if you implement Swagger on all your projects, at some point Swagger is very basic because you did this like 100 times. So it's very relative this concept of what is basic and what is not. If you start doing something on all your projects, suddenly it's basic
It's,
for you. It's
yeah.
not basic. Or for example, let's say that you start implementing a logging system for all your projects. You use Winston for Node.js or something else. If you start doing and you know how to set up the logger, it's very easy. It's very basic. If you never did it, of course, you need to read the
Hmm.
documentation, check a Piyush video, which is fine, and then you probably know how to do this. But I will not. Let's say define like it's like good kids and bad
Hmm.
kids like advanced and basic stuff. The basic stuff will always be there, and I think that an advanced concept is a great idea, for example, to create a video and create some content out of it. So, usually, for example, I like to use sort of semi-advanced features and then integrate this with very basic stuff. So that's the thing, Amit, and best of luck. Just the fact that you mention and you know that what is a queue socket and Redis means that you are curious and you probably already used that. So don't feel bad for it. Thank you so much. We also got a donation by Arp and Deep Singh. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Hi, Arpan.
Just for you, Piyush. Thank you. This has been it's been great. If you
Yeah,
have a
he's actually
question,
my friend. He's my school friend.
perfect, perfect. So you can confirm that Piyush is a human being. It's not an AI bot creating videos because he's creating so many videos. So to be honest, I wanted to invite him to see if he was actually a real person. No, I'm joking. And yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much for the donation. This always helps, to keep the creators going and doing more stuff and doing more interviews of this. So this really helps me. This made my day. And thank you. And yes, you can also say something good about Piyush that happened like in the chat. Only good things, of course. I'm sure they say good things.
No,
Yes.
he might know bad things also. I told you, right? He's cool friend.
that's that's why I say the good. That's why I especially
Yeah,
said
yeah,
to
yeah.
say
That's
something good
important.
because we're here in the live event. But no, but it's fine to have some real friends. So so probably Arpendip, you were one of the people who were annoyed by Piyush by teaching something probably. You experienced this probably at some point, but yes, yeah. Wait, where are you set? Where are you in India? In which
Me,
part of India are you?
North India.
North India. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
North India.
Okay. Okay. Yes. I've been 3 times. Like for people who always ask me, like Francesco, when are you coming to India? I've been in India 3 times in 3 years, so
Hmm.
it's not that a bad statistics. I've been 2 times in Goa and once in Bangalore during the World Cricket Final. It was absolutely crazy. You won, by the way. Yes, and this is where I met Hitesh, and also I think.
Okay.
Varun, I think. I can't remember exact name, but
The AI guy.
exactly. How is it spelled?
Varun
The
Maya.
name? Varun Maya.
Yeah,
Yes, I
Varun
met him.
Maya.
I
Hmm.
met him also.
Okay.
Very nice guy. And yes, it was a WixCon. It was in 2023, 24. I can't remember. Yeah, perfect. Yes. So, and what are you currently working on, and what might be some future projects?
Yeah, actually, I'm working on one of the side project. It's known as teachist.com. So it's basically a white labeled learning management system. I mean, if you want to host your courses and on your own domain, not on some other one, so you can basically host your courses on it, and you can connect your own domains to it. So it's a white labeled kind of like a WordPress for course hosting.
Hmm.
Alternative to Teachable. I think you might know about Teachable, you might know about Podia. So
I think I
alternate to
heard
that.
it. I heard it.
Hmm.
Yes, I heard it.
So that is what I'm currently working on, and this project
Mhm.
has actually given me a lot of learnings, because built a custom video processing pipeline. I got to know how actually videos work, what are these encodings, right? How these live streams work, how to build this live stream infrastructure, these all things. So I got to learn about this, how multi-tenant architectures work, built like we also have our like own DNS. So when you point your entries to the server, right, you know how the DNS works. So I mean, it actually has given me a lot of learnings around that.
Perfect, perfect. I really like this, and I like that you never stop learning, and you also want to
Yeah.
start and keep working on other projects. That's great, Piyush. I'm really enjoying this conversation. If you have any question, especially I don't know, maybe one question that I'm sure some people might be interested is the use of AI specific for developers. What do you think is like? Let's make 2 examples. One, like a good developer using AI and in the right way, and a developer using AI the wrong way. Can you make like these two differences? So the good developer and the bad developer. Bad not means that you're a bad person, but like we are using AI badly. Let me clarify this. Yes.
So, I mean, that's a really nice question, and this is something like I think the whole internet would have right now. My thing is that hey, you should understand the basics, and you should take the help of AI to code something right faster. For example, like you, me, we have been coding in JavaScript and Rust for a very long time, right? So maybe you don't want to rewrite the things, you don't want to rewrite a component, you don't want to have that CSS borders on a button. So this is something I can just tell it to AI that hey, please make this button a little bit more bigger and add some glow and add a effect for dark mode. This is something I can rely on. But you should not use AI, hey, add authentication system to my SaaS, enter, and just rely on that. So that is the thing, that don't let it get the whole control over the code base. Because I have seen one thing, once AI enters your code base, once it starts coding, now you are fully dependent on it. Now you have to always rely on a prompt. Okay, so always keep the control in your hand, always build the project, always take the control, you control the flow. Just take the help, micro interactions from the AI, that hey, in this file can you do this, in this file can you do this. it is basically like before we were going to Stack Overflow, we were understanding the things and doing it. It is much more faster now that you don't have to open a Chrome window, you don't have to search for the issue. AI gives you a pre-cooked answer. I mean, that's okay for your speed. Okay, so that is how I would recommend that. Hey, just take the help of it for a particular thing that you already know, and you are just you're feeling lazy to type it out. But don't let AI control your whole application. It should not be black boxed, at least to the developer.
Yes, and I think the more you are expert, the more you can use AI because
Yeah.
you still know what's going on, and you're just maybe you feel a bit lazy that day, and you know exactly how the thread component has to be written, and you can read the code written by AI in 10 seconds, but you still need to know everything that happened, of course. I think that yes. There are some people, I don't know if you are one of them, who say like if you are a new beginner, you should not use AI.
Hmm.
I am a bit more open to this because I realize that you are, even if you are young or you're a new developer, you still have a head, your brain is still connected. So I want to trust the people like in using AI. It's like telling, I don't know, someone who wants to cook, like never give them knives. I don't know. I trust that you know what you're doing, even if you're not an expert. I might use this analogy again. So I might say use AI, but what you said is exactly what you
Hmm.
said. So don't lose control. Use AI to learn things. Maybe go a bit slower because you are new. Probably you have a superpower in your hand because people like 30 years ago they didn't have internet, like they had to learn like from books.
Books. Hmm.
But the thing is that, by the way, I'm writing a Rust book, a shameless plug. This was not intentional. It will be out in 2 months. But the thing is that by um, when we had less resources, people were craving for it. When we had less universities, people were really craving to go there. I don't know what's the current situation in India, but for example, in Italy, like sometimes people are a bit lazy, they don't want, and even maybe you have a perfect video about calculus, but you don't even watch it. People would have killed 500 years ago for something like that because they wanted really to understand the things. Maybe it was not even their calculus, but I made them an example. But you get what I mean.
Yeah,
So
yeah. No, no, I'm getting
so
it. I'm
when we
getting it. Yeah.
have when we have a scarcity of resources, people really crave for it. And now that we have, before we had YouTube, but now we have AI, which is even makes things easier on a
Hmm.
side, but on the other side, people say if it's easy, it's not worth it, like checking because. That's very dangerous. We should really understand that we can use AI for understanding something, and I like also what you said that once AI gets into your code, it's very hard that it goes out because, and you know what? It's normal because our brain by default is lazy. But our brain by default doesn't want to wake up in the morning, right? It feels sleepy at night, so that's by default. We might get excited if we have a party, just jump off our bed, but usually by default we tend to, our brain tries to
Hmm.
protect us, and your brain always our brain always
Shortcuts. Hmm.
always considers the shortcut. I
Hmm.
think even the more disciplined people, they think about a possible shortcut. But this is how the brain tries to optimize things. Sometimes the shortcuts are not the best solution because this might be the shortcut to a cliff or something that is not ideal. And yes, so that's hey Kartia, how are you? How's it going? Um, Piyush Francesco, I'm good at full stack and built apps for clients. Amazing. Should I focus on scaling this up or focus on getting a job? First of all, you are 18 years old, so you already won, I think, at life if you can build an app and sell it to clients at 18. So for me, you already won at life. Focus on scaling or focus on getting a job? What do you think is the best solution, Piyush?
You should focus on your studies first.
I like this approach.
Being 18.
Be-
Hmm.
I like this approach. Because when you are very young, I consider this very young. I'm 42, as I mentioned. So I consider someone who's 18 young, consider to my age. I remember once I was there were like people who were like 8 talking to each other, and sometimes and one of them told them like, "Hey, yes, we were at a party. There was also an older guy, 18." So everything is relative in the life. For eight, for a person is eight, you might actually be old. Kartikeya. Uh,
Yeah.
I will s- I will say it really depends on your current situation. Having a job, I think, is a good way to start. You didn't mention study, so I'm trying to stick between these two options. But I like what Piyush thought like I say outside the box. Um, I think that the best will be to scale this and try to get a good job. So since you already are a professional, remember that getting a job might be, a safe solution, but it has to be a good one. And I'm not talking about the salary, but more about the opportunities to grow. Because if you already are selling apps to clients, probably having a low paid in tech to write some handmade SQL queries every day, just choose something random and say something that will not make you grow a lot, or maybe always the same query all the day long, we are not growing. And for you, growing is the most important thing. It's even more important than money now, because you have 60
Hmm.
years in tech, 70 years in tech. Yes, yet probably we can code it. We'll see, because code is so young. We don't know if people who are 70 code. We have some examples of people like who retired from Microsoft and they still code like in the 60s, 70s. So this might actually become a thing. Like we code, I would love to do this. You will see Francesco at 80 doing videos on YouTube. I would love to do this. And so I would say focus on something that makes you
Hmm.
grow in terms of knowledge. But we are already on a right track. To be honest, having a safe income is great. It can be great for you and your family always. But having probably multiple and a job, you can always lose your job. You can change your job. So if you get like a full-time job, it has to be meaningful, not they waste your time for a low salary if you have already a good income. So, but can we agree that this is a good problem to have, Piyush?
Yes, yes, yes. It's actually, I was about to say, it's a very nice thing that at age of
Yeah,
18, you already are good at full stack and you were able to build something and sell it to the client. It's an achievement. I mean, congratulations on that.
yeah,
And if you're if you're doubting between should I focus on this app only or should I get a job, I mean, it might be controversial to say, but I would like to know your thoughts also. I think once every engineer should work in a good company, as you said, like for an opportunity, and should understand how real code looks like, right? How code works on scale, how it basically, the pipelines burst out, how you get those bugs and everything. So I think once every coder should work on a decent startup to understand the workflow, to understand how teams are built, how you work in a team, how that pyramid works, right? How product managers talk to the customers, how they bring the customers, how whole cycle is done. Once you get a gist of that whole cycle, you have that experience, and you are just 18. I mean, you can get this chance, right? Even by 20, you can just job for 2 years. Now then you will come back with an experience that how to really handle a company, how to really handle a product manager, how to really handle a project, how that cycle goes. So that is, I think, my thing. But don't stop this. Even if you get a job, keep working on it as a side project still.
exactly, exactly. But again, it's a very nice problem to have.
Yeah.
And congratulations for because let's say I think it's important to have like something that we are expert in doing in our lives. And yes, and I think also yes, also getting a job, because I'm sure there are people who are good at coding at 18,
Hmm.
not many people good at selling the apps for clients. So that's the real difference. So it's great that you have some marketing skills, some sales skills. Sometimes by stereotype, developers
Hmm.
might lack this skill a bit. So you might have a superpower. You might be like very successful. I really wish you best of luck. Of course, I'm sure you deserve it. Yes. Piyush, we have some months left in 2025. Do you have any big projects coming up this year or next year, or what are you currently planning? Because when you create content, I don't know you, but my brain is always trying to, to plan new things. I have a backlog of things which is still that long, but then usually I do like one or two things out of those like 100 things. So, which are your
Hmm.
something that you would really like to do
Right
and to
now,
get
so it's
done?
more on agentic AI, to be honest, because this is a field where, every company other day comes up, pops up like in the Twitter. Hey, we have built this, we have built this, we are solving this problem. There is a new ID every day. So right now I'm just trying to see that how these AI agents are evolving, what they are capable of doing, and how much time it is left for developers, kind of a thing. I know developers are not going anywhere, don't get me wrong, but I really like to see how AIs and these automations and they are able to work. So majorly I'm kind of in this particular field only. I really admire this, like you can build an agent that can do stuff for you. So this is where I usually spend my most of the time. And it is very difficult, on to be honest, to think about it. I'll tell you one thing, this field is changing so much. A problem which was very difficult to build 3 months ago, let's say, you need a full system design, and then these companies just say, hey, now we have a support for this thing, and it is just like one line of code. So it's a very dynamic changing field. So yeah, this is basically what I am doing right now. I'm not planning any like big project or something like that. So yeah, like working on teachers plus seeing this AI field growing. So that is what I'm doing.
Perfect, perfect. And yes, and I think this is it's the real difference because of like what it was like 20 years ago with coding and now. Because let's say that 10 years ago, if there was a new technology or something new, you can say, okay, this is cool. I will check it, I don't know, later this year or in 6 months.
Hmm.
If you doing this now, it's not more an option. Like if you have something like this, like that you mentioned, and you're currently working on these things, you can't ignore them. 20 years ago, you say, oh, there is a new cool database. Okay, I'll check it next year. And now I have focused on this. And now we really need to stay up to date, to check all the news, to understand how things are going. If we can do this faster in a better way, there is a new model. I think with this will be remembered, as the war of LLMs, like these 5 years, or I don't know at some point if they will stop or not. But we can't ignore it. I don't. I think I don't know a single person who is advocating to just stop learning everything which is happening in the AI world right now and just focus on the things. I think this might be very dangerous. The only option will be, I don't know, if you are ready, if you're close to retirement, you don't just want to get work done, it's fine. It's fine. You can deserve some rest. If you are a student, you are 18, you can't ignore this stuff. You need to understand this, how to use them as soon as possible. And this is
Right.
we are trying to do our best to share this stuff, to create videos, to get people here, also to do these live events, because we want you to stay up to date as much as possible. And then you can check them. I think at Piyush left. 1 second, it should be back soon. We are back. It was
Hey,
close.
I okay, okay.
I
Sorry,
can
sorry. I
hear.
think
I
there
can
was
hear.
something. Yeah.
It's
Okay.
fine. It's fine. Perfect. Yeah, thank you. I think we also saw some people here. Francesco, Toby's here, and here. Grateful for insights. Yes, always say like this, grateful to know things. Yes, thanks a lot and best of luck. Perfect. Yes, Piyush, it has been a really a great, nice conversation. I also like to have people here because maybe we might have some ideas for some collaborations, some stuff together. And I see that we put, of course, your YouTube channel here. So let's. I now I know like a bit of your background. I see that your teaching part is very strong in you, as it is in me. If you want to drop some very last question, now or never, this is your last opportunity. I will not say this again. In the meanwhile, maybe you share would like maybe to do some final thought, especially I think to people who might struggle a bit in this AI era. I think everyone is struggle, but what do you think like is something that we can tell them? Especially, I don't know, they think of like some CEOs are saying, I don't know, maybe we should stop coding at all. We should stop being a developer. What do you think is the right way to say, right thing to say, especially to the young people? Because of course, for me, I take this information in a different way. I always filter everything that happens. I try to understand why this person said this, why this CEO said this, and this. But if a person is 16, they have less protection. Everything we stole them, it can even affect their own life and their own future. So what can we tell them?
So if you are 16, and I assume that you are basically saying that someone is getting into the tech, right? uh, I would say that, hey, it's easier to build things than before, right? Before you had to learn a lot of things, you have to code it. But right now, even a 12-year-old can code just by saying vibe coding and say, hey, I build this app overnight. I would strongly say not to do that, to be honest. If you are 16, focus on the basics. Learn everything. Try to have that curiosity and try to understand systems, how system is working. Like by writing a line, let's say console.log something, what that particular line is doing. Like, what do you think, Francisco? Like, what I'm thinking is, as this vibe coding thing is going above, right? The trend, there soon will be, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what is happening. Yeah, so I was basically saying that as more and more people are vibe coding, right? The demand for people who can code without AI will eventually increase for them. I mean, people will want these people into the team that, hey, we want someone who can code something without AI. The intelligence level is going to be very low in the AI, in the development field, because everyone is, relying on the AI. So if you are very young,
Yeah.
try to get focus on the basics, and no one can basically replace you then.
Yes, but I mean, the fact that everyone can do something doesn't mean that you have to be in the mass of people who don't know some things. Also like everyone can cook, but you can decide. Like if we still have a brain which is working, we can decide on which side we want to be or not. Or are we? Does it mean that we are all doomed? I don't think so. I don't. I think that we can still have critical thinking and still decide what we want to do and we don't want to do. I think that spending a lot of time doing something that you don't know what's going on, it's it, it's not like the right thing to do. It's like me. I go on, and my car is not working. I just open the front of the car and I just watch for hours. Yes, I spent hours checking, touching something randomly. I didn't learn much. I'm just checking stuff. So vibe coding can be used if you want to have fun, but the fun should be separated by the learning stuff. Because now people, I like this that everyone is saying that everyone can build an app in one click, in one prompt. Yes, but if I know the basics, I will probably write a better app than you in one
Hmm.
prompt. And so this is for sure. Like if we all have the same tools, the person who has a better knowledge is what really makes the difference. This is why, for example, writing, like, I think in this era, I want to be as open-minded as possible. I think in this AI era, writing the whole single details of code might be less relevant. I don't want to say, I'll never say useless, less relevant, because if this is something, a standard practice, a best practice, AI will know how to write it.
Hmm.
But the thing what you said about the systems, the architecture, how things have been done, the concept, okay. And you know what? Like sometimes we see this like people like saying like no, AI can build anything, but the stack can be different. Many things can be done in different ways. You can use different libraries. So how do you know which is the best library to use? How do you know which
True.
is the best programming language to use? How, because you just rely on what the prompt said at that time that you mention it. I mean, it depends. If you have strong marketing skills, there are some people who have a very strong marketing skills. They can build something and then sell. But the only difference is that before, maybe we needed, I don't know, maybe a week to create an MC an MVP. Now maybe we need some hours. So that's the only difference. But the process of writing code faster, this started 40 years ago. Like this is not something that is absolutely new. Now it's is as quick as possible. There's never been that quick, but still, like if we have an idea of what to build, usually having
Hmm.
let's say a knowledge about this And even like if you have, I don't know, some even the social media presence can help. Like if, for example, if you want to launch a project, if you want to talk about a project, probably having a YouTube channel can help. If I launch a project, probably some people will understand it more than if I don't have it. So I think that in this AI era, we'll have like the real people who will really stand out will be people who create content out of it because they get out of their shell, and people who understand things in the right way. So use AI, but don't just let AI take over, because
Rely on it.
if
Yeah.
it takes over, we start becoming less important. You'll start becoming less important. You're basically replacing yourself. So that's uh, that's not what we want. Like the the person who creates tables, they just want a better tool. They don't want the table to be
Hmm.
automated because they know how to do it. I'm taking a
And it
lot
is
of
not
analogies
even
today.
optimized. I mean, you can build an AI app just for the MVP purpose, right? Maybe I just want
Yeah.
to have a client call you. I just want to show them something working. But taking it to the production, working with real clients, with a vibe coded app. I mean, anyone can pen test. Once you get that popularity, right? Even if you get a few hundred users, people will try to break into your system and they will be able to very easily. And you will have no way to fix it even because that code is done by AI. You have to explain to AI that, hey, someone broke into the system, fix it.
Yeah, and and the last round for today, I promise,
Yeah.
is that if you ever wrote code in a professional way, you know that writing the code is like, I don't know, 10% of the effort, 5% of the effort. Usually what we do is maintaining the code, fixing, turning the project up when it's down, scaling. So all these problems are not like
Hmm.
writing the MVP. Maybe it's a bit easier, but it was easy even 5 years ago. It was not that complicated. Maybe we can even use an existing project, copy paste it, and that
Yeah.
was our AI basically. The the real difference, the real problems the developers should focus on is that having a project which is up and running, scaling, distribution over the whole world, DNS problems, like problems that of real world application. That's the real part, like understanding the network, the traffic, how to redirect the traffic, how to do A/B testing. I don't know. You can try to do an indie hacking simple app, but you should know what is A/B testing, the green blue deployment, all these things
Yeah.
and
Right.
concepts are still relevant. And of course, the MVP now is probably easy. Probably you can do this in an hour, but if everyone can do it, probably now there's less importance. So that's it. I think this AI era really values ideas. So if you really have a really great idea, I think it can really help you. But still, you will need some support. Probably, if you have a very good idea, you will start hiring developers right now. I'm sure, because if you have a very good idea that can make you really successful, I think the first step you will do is to hire someone who's better than you at coding. This will be my first step. So I don't know
No,
you,
no,
but this,
absolutely. Hmm.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Hiring someone better than you.
yeah, for sure, this is the first thing I will do. So Piyush, thank you. I make you stay a bit longer, but I really enjoyed this conversation. I
Same
hope
here,
we can.
likewise.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
hope we can do something together. But once we did this first conversation, it will be easier even to contact you or to get contacted. Maybe you can see us doing something together. And best of luck with your little project. Say bye to Hitesh. We are good
Yeah. Thank you,
friends.
sir.
So I jumped on some of his spaces sometimes. Sometimes he speaks in Hindi, but it's fine.
Yes, yes,
I,
yes.
I join anyway because I want to show support, even I don't understand. I might even understand
No,
some
no, we,
Hindi
we,
finally.
we always think, we always point out that, hey, Francisco is also here, but we are not sure if he's understanding Hindi or not. We
It's
always pinpoint
it,
that.
it's fine. I like to support my
Yeah.
friends no matter what.
Hmm.
Just perfect. So thank you so much for coming,
Okay.
Piyush, and
It
best
was
of luck.
great. It was great talking. And yeah, best of luck to you. Let's have more
Yeah,
live streams in the future.
we can. And I like your style, which is very relaxed. If you want to say hi and thank you, you can say it
Yeah.
now. And yes, and I think this is really shows how if you have a friend, you can even start. You can invite them on your live stream. You can have this one could have been a simple coffee chat between me and him, and we just could update each other. Actually, we try to do something like more for everyone. We put our headphones, earphones on, and then we're here to have this discussion. I hope this has been
It's
useful.
actually a good idea. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a good idea. Meeting
Thanks.
someone, hey, jump onto the live stream.
Yeah, but I think now it's socially acceptable that we do this live.
Hmm.
Of course, this can even get some people attention. Maybe you spark some ideas. People can ask some questions here, which I think is
Right.
way better than sending a DM. I keep repeating this, but sometimes when I receive a DM, I want to help more people at the same time instead of just trying and repeating honestly always the same questions over and over again in DMs. So if you want to have answers, probably showing in a live event and asking questions is the best way. Thank you so much, Piyush. Subscribe to this channel, of
Okay.
course.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
sure that
Yeah.
all of you are already subscribed, but you can check it out in case you did this very bad mistake in your life. So check out this channel, and I'll see you in the next event. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.